everybody? I'm your host, Buck the Black Hunter, and this here is CampTalk. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by...
Hey everybody, Austin here with Colorado Custom Game Calls. Are you looking for a game call for your upcoming season? Are you looking for something unique? Are you looking for a gift for the hunter in your life? Well, look no further. We got you covered. At Colorado Custom Game Calls, you get to put your own twist on these calls. Whether it's waterfowl hunting, big game hunting, predator, or turkey, we got you covered. So be sure to hit us up on our Facebook and Instagram or on the web at coloradocustomgamecalls.com.
So if you're looking for game calls, hit up my guy, Austin Danley, at Colorado Custom Game Calls. Actually, that's exactly who I'm getting ready to interview right now. This man is a hard-working person who had a love and a passion to do something to help out the community of the hunting. Help out the hunting community. Can't even talk right now. So he did it. He's out there designing game calls with lifetime warranties that you can customize for yourself. I don't want to take anything from it. Please welcome my boy and another family member of the Campfire Evolution team, Austin Danley. I got this crazy ass cat that I'm actually not at my normal studio. I'm in Redding or Anderson, California right now, in Northern California, and I'm visiting my in-laws, and they have this crazy ass like half cheetah cat.
You've been watching Tiger King or what?
Yes, I have. I have been watching Tiger King. That show is crazy, and
dude, that's some crazy shit.
That's some crazy shit. That there's the fact that there's more tigers, and I've always heard the statement that there's more tigers in America that there are in the wild. That blew my. I never.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I started watching that show.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, and the fact that they can.
Yeah.
They're getting away with it.
I know, right?
Like, you would think that like Fish and Game would step in and do something, or I don't know, make like
you would think.
It would be cool if they even allowed what they should start doing. If they, if they really want to make money, they should start letting hunters shoot some of these tigers. Because I'm sure, I'm sure there's a lot of fuckers out there who, and I'm one of them. I'm one of those fuckers probably who would probably I wouldn't mind having a legal tiger pelt in my house. I wouldn't mind that. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. I don't know if I could do it though, man. They're like majestic animals and shit in my mind.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess it depends. As a child, I didn't really watch too much. Like, I didn't have any connections to like animals. Like, a lot of people have play toys like stuffed animals, and they make these romantic connections, and I guess I have with some respect with roosters. Oddly enough, I have a hard time killing my roosters because growing up as a kid, I had this neighbor who had a rooster, and I just loved that rooster. So maybe you might have something going there, but I never made that for romantic connection to tigers. I've always looked at tigers as like a predator, something that was evil, something I was afraid of. And I guess when you have fear, it's easy to want to shoot something when you have fear, like bears.
Right.
I definitely want a bear in my life, and a lot of people love bears. They don't see bears as food. They see them as, beautiful, majestic animals that, should be raising cubs, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine said growing up, his favorite character on any Disney movie was in the Bambi movie. And I was like, oh, well, who's the character? Really? He's like, yeah, you probably wouldn't notice him because he was only in it for the first 5 minutes of the episode. But it was that hunter who shot Bambi's dad. That's my favorite character.
Okay, it's a little morbid, but good point.
I was like, oh, well, shit. I don't even remember what that guy looks like, but.
Yeah, I don't either.
Holy smokes.
I'm going to have to figure it out, though, with my daughter on the way.
Oh my. Yeah. That's, man, congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you have any kids?
No, this is our first.
This is your first. Yeah. Congratulations, man. Welcome to the Dad Club.
Oh yeah, I've been waiting for it for a while.
Awesome. Do you have a name picked out?
Yeah, her name is Magnolia Raye, Raye Danley.
Oh my God, that is so beautiful. You know, not a lot of people put a lot of effort into names, and that I can tell you put a lot of thought into that name.
Well, and there's a story behind that too.
Can you share it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
The weekend that we found out that she was pregnant was the same weekend that she went down to Waco to go down to the Magnolia Farms and stuff. She's hugely into home decor and, you know, renovating stuff and stuff like that. We actually renovated our house on the inside right after we bought it. And there was absolutely nothing wrong with it, but she wanted that farmhouse feel, and that's how she's always been. But we used to watch the, you know, Chip and Joanna Gaines, the Fixer Upper show all the time. And, you know, between her and I, we've always done projects together and stuff. And like I said, we renovated our house. So it's kind of like a tie-in thing. And I can't remember who came up with it. It was either me or her. I think it was her. And we're going to nickname her Maggie, but her real name will be Magnolia. So there's kind of a tie with it or whatnot.
Nice. So she thought of the name.
I think she did. I can't remember if I did or if she did. I can't remember now that I'm on the spot on it, but I think she did.
Awesome. That's awesome. I can always, when I was picking the name for my daughter and my future son, put that into existence. I'm just going to speak that into existence. God, my future child, my future son. Mm-hmm. I sat down and I always thought, like, how would it sound in a classroom when a teacher's calling out the names? Or how does it sound when, like, you're getting called up or someone looks at your application for a job or something like that, and hearing powerful names like Magnolia, like, I'm gonna hire that person just because of her. You know what I mean?
I guess I never really thought of it that way, but yeah, you got a point.
Yeah, man, it's a powerful name. Like, I named my daughter Nevexia.
Okay.
And the story behind that is gonna be it's really silly. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. We just came back from her 3D exam or sonogram or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I had names picked out already, and I may still use those names if we have another girl in the future, so I'm not going to say them. But we had names picked out already, but the names we had picked out didn't fit her face when I saw her face. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like, I don't know if I can name you that. It doesn't feel like that's who you are. Like, I'm looking at her in the video, and she's like just this. She's not like, okay, the original name was going to be Perseus, but she didn't seem like a Perseus. She seemed way more calmer. Like, when I imagine a Perseus, I imagine like my future, like, soccer player, or my future wrestler daughter, or my future, like, just run amok, like, daughter. When I seen her in the 3D, she just seemed very peaceful and very, very calm. So I could not name her Perseus. And I was sitting in the passenger seat on the way home, and I was super baked. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I'm very pro marijuana, and yeah, me and my wife, we're both very, very pro. She's not right now because she's doing a lot of breastfeeding. She's not a lot of pro anything right now. But
right. I
was super baked, and I was on the freeway, and for some reason we passed an exit in Danville, California. We passed an exit, and I looked at that exit. It had nothing to do with her name, but immediately when I looked at her exit, this Russian guy. Have you ever played Call of Duty?
I used to, like, on 360.
Okay,
that's
yeah.
How long ago
so
I played Call of Duty.
Do you remember Reznov in one of the first Call of Duties?
Yeah.
Victor Reznov, that guy?
Yeah.
A guy who looked just like him same voice popped in my head and said, her name is Nevexia. And I was just like, her name's Nevexia. And my wife was like, what? I'm like, babe, what do you think of Nevexia? She was like, wow, I like it. And I was like, yeah, this Russian guy just popped in my head and just told me what her name was. And that's her name.
That's an odd story.
That's exactly how it happened.
That's funny though.
Yeah, man. So yeah, Magnolia, I'm hiring that person. And I'm being in the school system. I've worked in the school system for a couple of years, and reading people's names gets very mundane. But once you read a kid's name like Magnolia, you want to look up and see who that kid is, because you're like, Magnolia? Who the hell is Magnolia? Like,
yeah.
Oh, that's you?
And
okay.
It's not a very common name, at least right now it's not, I don't think.
No, not at all. I've only heard that name for I believe it's Best Buy had like a TV brand called Magnolia. It was like the top of the line of their TVs. But that's the only time I've ever heard Magnolia was like prestige, high status. You know what I mean? So yeah, you picked a good name there.
Well, I never put that much thought into it either.
Well, man, congratulations. It's gonna be an awesome change of your life.
Yeah, she's due this month. She's due on April 26th. The doctors are saying that she should be roughly a week early, but with it being our first, usually they're late. But I don't know. She's growing. We were supposed to have a ultrasound and a doctor's appointment this morning, but that got canceled because this whole coronavirus stuff going on. But the office that we go to, my wife goes to for the OBGYN, our doctor wasn't in the office because they're limiting the amount of people that are allowed in there, and that's including the doctors and stuff. So they're like very bare bones right now. So they had to reschedule it for next Wednesday. So we'll see. And of course, now I can't go with her because they're limiting the amount of people that can go. So she's going to have to go on her own. But the last time she weighed via the ultrasound was 6 pounds, 3 ounces. And that was almost 2 weeks ago. So, and I was a big baby. I was 9 pounds, 11 ounces myself when I was born.
Holy
So,
smokes.
and I was a C-section. Jess was a C-section, I believe. I don't remember how much she weighed though. But me being a bigger guy and me being a bigger baby, she was afraid that she's going to have to push out a 9 or 10 pound baby, which isn't going to be fun.
No, it's I can't. I mean, I'm a man. I don't have those parts. I cannot even imagine what it's like doing any portion of what, like the kicking in the stomach, none of that. I can't imagine any of it. It's very alien to me. So I can't even think about pretending to imagine what any of those versus cesarean versus natural birth. I can't even sit here and say whatever you want to do was my response, babe. So hats off to moms out there, that's for sure. Because I can tell you right now, there's no way I could do that by any means. Darn, hats off to mom. When I get a paper cut, I'm not happy. I can't even imagine pushing a baby out of me.
Yeah.
Jeez. And then not even that, but the next year or two, forever, but the next year, you're the food. You're solely the food for the baby. Now, if you're going formula, that's all good. I was a formula baby because my mom wasn't producing any milk. So if you're a formula mom, that's all good. But you still have to feed that baby. No matter if you're a formula mom or if you're breastfeeding, you still got to sit there and dedicate the time to make sure the baby is fed every 3 hours, change the diapers, I'm there to do some of it, but sometimes she just wants to feel mom. And that's just what it is. But it's I can't wait for the terrible twos.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. I can't wait for the terrible twos.
Sorry.
I was talking to Louis Lau, And
okay, yeah, he's a good buddy of mine.
Yeah, man, and he's the one who connected us. Shout out to Lewis, man.
Yeah.
It was a great podcast me and him had the other night. We're going to probably end up doing another one either today or tomorrow, just because we got a lot to talk about. But he was talking to me about his kid, and I was like, man, I can't wait for that stage. Like, they're going to be mimicking everything you do, everything you say. I'm like looking forward to that stage.
Right.
And it's weird because at first, when Navexi was first born, I was afraid to hold her. She's tiny little thing, fragile. I did not feel comfortable whatsoever. And at the time, I was doing a lot of working. I worked for this. I was a forester technician, and I was working in the mountains a lot. So I spend like 5 days, 6 days a week away. And I would come see her on the weekends. It was crappy. So thank God, sort of, for this coronavirus shit, because I wouldn't be spending the time I am with my family if this wasn't happening. But, seeing kind of, seeing everything that Cassie's doing every single day. I kind of forgot where I was going with them, to be honest with you. But seeing what Cassie's doing every single day is like, it's mind blowing. And, yeah, I can't even imagine, like, when she gets older, I'll be able to play with her. I'll be able to run around with her. But right now, it's like, it's mainly mom. She's getting a little bit bigger. I'm able to play with her. She's a lot more durable now. She's a lot more like, she's tracking. She's kind of starting to mimic me with her body language. And it's, I'm able to help out and see some milestones. Like, she rolled over the other day. That made me cry. I'm not gonna lie. I cried. She was like, oh my God, you rolled over all by yourself. Like, oh my God, like little shit like that. It means a lot to me.
I'm excited for those kinds of moments and stuff. I'm pumped for that.
Hell yeah. So like, what do you do for work, bud?
So I'm in the oil field out here in Colorado. My position is, I'm an EHS technician, but I'm leaned towards the air quality. So in Colorado, they passed a thing called Reg 3 and Reg 7. So basically, they make us inspect our facilities to make sure that we're not venting or leaking any emissions from natural gas or from the oil tank in the atmosphere, in the air, or whatnot. So basically, I run around with a fancy $100,000 IR camera, and I make sure that we're compliant with the state and federal rules when it comes to oil and gas rigs.
Nice. Do they give you those?
That's my day job.
And you say that like you have another job. What else do you do there, bud?
Well, we make the calls too.
Oh, Colorado, you make those calls. Yeah, no, I knew that. I just want the people the people to hear what you got to say about your calls. So tell me about your calls.
Yeah, so we hand pour, hand turn, hand tune all of our stuff. We specialize in waterfowl hunting, like ducks, Canada geese. We have a snow goose call also. But we also provide calls for other hunters like predator. We have a predator call. We have a deer grunt as well, an elk mew, our elk call, and we also do turkey calls as well. But the unique with us is because we hand pour all of our own blanks, we pour all of our own blanks. We don't buy any of our blanks. We hand pour them. And with us hand doing that, we have the ability to customize these calls to your liking. So basically, you are building the call from the ground up.
So this is basically
like, take that a step further. Go ahead.
This is basically like a custom call. I think you were getting ready to ask you. Like, I can get basically a custom call back from you guys.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. So not only is the sound custom because we do things a little bit differently. Every call manufacturer out there, it all is roughly going to sound like a duck, but there's going to be little variances, and sometimes that can give you a better edge. And like our 970 mallard that we came out with, that's one of our duck calls. We came out with it in around Thanksgiving time in 2019, So it was like midway through this last season. We made a whole bunch of changes to the big brother, which is the Mile High Mallard. The Mile High Mallard was designed for more of a mature, deeper sounding hen, like within 150 yards. It was not designed to scream at them, from 600 yards away. And, it had a little bit of limited range, but there was a reason for it. Going back to the 970, that was more of our open water. You want to scream at them from, 600 yards away, go for it, because that call can handle it. And the nice part about it is we did a lot of tone board changes and a new cork notch and everything. You basically have better range with the 970 now, and that was on purpose, is the whole purpose of having that new call. But not only are you getting a custom sound, you're also getting to build the call from the ground up. And what I mean by that is you tell me what colors of the call do you want? Do you want multiple colors? Do you want something in your call? And that's what makes us very unique from other call makers. And there's a lot of great call makers out there, but what makes us unique is if you want, say, for an example, a popular thing is barbed wire. We're able to embed barbed wire into the duck call or into the goose call, and that's customized to what you want. So we've also done other materials like wood. Wood is very popular.
Wait.
We've done corn.
When you say barbed wire, you mean literal barbed wire into the...
Literal, real, like fencing barbed wire that holds in cattle. Yes, that's exactly it.
Dope. That is... So basically, if I said, hey, if I sent you like an antler, could you make a call out of that antler?
We haven't done antlers yet. I don't know how that would work. It would just depend on how well it drilled out.
Yeah, I'm a little
basically
bit of a dreamer.
What we have to do is we have to make the blank. And then once we make the blank, we got to be able to make sure that we can drill through the blank to make sure that we have a place for the insert to go and actually produce the call out of it.
I see.
And there's been a handful of times that there's materials that we can't use. I do tell a lot of people, like if you're interested in getting something custom made that we haven't done yet, my list is easier to tell you what we haven't done versus what we have done, because we've done so many stuff. Like I've had farmers call me up that are also hunters. A lot of farmers are hunters, and they want their own corn kernels from their farm in their call.
What?
Or
that
their
is
own,
dope.
or their own wheat heads or something like that.
That is pretty cool. Could you use like rocks?
It depends on how soft they are.
Okay. Like obsidian.
It all depends on how hard the material is. The other thing, like I had a gentleman send me not too long ago some shark teeth. Ooh. Don't ask me how he had them. Don't ask me how he had them. But he had real life shark teeth, and we couldn't use it because it had too much water in it. So that's one thing that we have to do is we have to dry out our material that we put in the acrylic, because if we don't, it foams up our resin.
Okay.
And then we can't use it.
Yeah. So
there is a little bit of limitations there, but as far as building it, I mean, we work with you as much as we can. We've done, like I said, barbed wire. We've done corn, wheat. We've done wood. We've even put glitter in calls before. Grass blades is another popular one that we do. But that's what's unique with us is you tell us how you want it built, and we make it happen for you. And here's the other great part about it too is not only are you getting to build this to what you want, you get to tell me what colors, and you can get crazy with it. Like, hey, I want red and yellow, or white and clear, or black and white, or whatever you want. We can pretty much make it happen. But you also have peace of mind with it as well. And what I mean by that is our warranty is awesome. As long as you don't lose the call 100%, if like say the insert fell out, we'll cover it. But if the reeds fall out, if it needs retuned, if you don't like it, we buy it back or we take care of you 100%, no questions asked.
100% guaranteed. Warranty.
100% guaranteed. So, and that's for life of the call.
For life of the
as long as we're always in business, we'll take care of our customers.
You can't beat that. You can't beat a lifetime warranty at all. Everything I buy.
We do free tuning. All you got to do is ship it back.
Free tuning. All you got to do is ship it back. Free tuning
for life. You just have to ship it back. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, you can't beat that, guys. You really cannot beat that. Buy lifetime warranty stuff because you don't. If you're gonna be using it for the rest of your life, you want to be able to have that comfort in knowing that this company's gonna back you 100% guaranteed.
Oh yeah.
A lot of stuff, even the underwear I buy is lifetime warranty, just because if I get a hole in it, I can send it back. They'll send me another pair. The scopes. When you first start.
Here's something to show you how good our warranty is.
Let's do it.
Okay. I had a gentleman reach out to me I believe he was from Louisiana, and he never heard about it before. Well, here's what happened. A gentleman that must have bought a call from us a long time ago. Unfortunately, he lost his duck call in the marsh, doesn't know what happened to it, whatever. Well, it sat for almost a year, we were predicting, because we changed our band logo a while back. So I have kind of a rough idea when things were made based on what the bands were. Uh-huh. And that's what tells me it was an older call. But anyway, this Army veteran was out duck hunting in, I believe, Louisiana, and he found the call in the mud somewhere. Looked up our logo somehow and somehow found us, and he reached out to me on Instagram. He was like, hey, I found this. Is there any warranty or anything? He had no idea. And I said, lucky for you, bud. Yes, there is a warranty. We warranted him that call that he found. Unfortunately, the other guy lost it, yes. But we went ahead and warranted it, and that's just to show you how far we take our warranty.
Wow.
It sat in the mud for over a year, if not more. This gentleman found it in the marsh, and we still gave him the warranty. Even though he didn't buy it, we still gave him the warranty because he owned it at that time. He found it. You
cannot. That is crazy. You cannot beat that. Not at all. Especially if I was honest with them, I was like, hey, I found this. Can I get it covered? I feel like a lot of companies probably wouldn't. I don't know if they would value that. I don't know. I don't know what they would.
I don't know very many people that would.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I don't either.
And even if you do lose the call, if people were to call me up and be like, hey, this fell off my lanyard, because there is a little bit of fraud out there. People are. That's why we always ask for a return on things and stuff like that. But if you bought from us before, and we have record of it that you bought from us before, because we archive all of our records, as long as we have an archive of it, we will take care of you. We may not give you a free call if you lose your old one, but we will give you a discount because we want to keep you as a customer.
Right.
We want to keep you happy. And that, to us, we have a really good satisfaction rating on Facebook. I don't think we're getting judged on Google or anything like that. But if you go to our Facebook page, we have a really good rating. And, we're not in the business we're in the business to make money and keep the business sustain for itself. But it's the connections that we get to meet, which is awesome. And the customers that we get to serve. And I've got to meet some really outstanding people in the business and in the hunting world in general because of the business. And, it's just the right thing to do. I think, and I've said this before, I think some of these bigger companies have lost sight a little bit on where they came from. And that's one of our mottos is we never forget where we came from, because we're just a small 2-man operation. And, if we ever do get bigger, which I hope one day we do, my dream is to sell in Cabela's and Bass Pro and, Academy Sports and stuff like that one day. If we ever get that big, we're never going to forget where we came from and the customers that helped us to get to that position.
Oh, yeah.
So in our mind, it's the right thing to do for our customers to take care of them, because that's who we serve. That's our customers. That's our fan base. That's the people that supported us to get us to where we are today. We've only been to business for roughly about 3 years now. And as Colorado Custom Game Calls for 3 years. And if you would have asked me 3.5 years ago, would I see us getting this big, having the following that we have, or being on podcasts with you or, anything like this, selling T-shirts and cups and stuff like that, I would have told you no, because I never saw it becoming this big. And it's because of our customers and our fans and our following that we had, is because of why we're this big.
No, it's that attitude too. Your attitude just spews out positivity, and it spews out, like, I can feel like the love you have for your business. Even over here in California, I can feel it through the phone. So it's
well, thank you.
It's your passion for what you're doing is spewing through the phone, and I can just hear it in your voice how, like, you're focused on customer service, and I focus on companies whose main concern is customer service. And like, it's sold for me, but like I'm a big game hunter. So a lot of the calls that I use, it's like for elk, and I haven't really gotten too much into elk calls because this is my first year actually getting an elk tag. So I've gotten to read, and I play with a couple of reeds. But as far as like, ducks and stuff like that, I can tell you right now, like, having something that is simple for a beginner to use is amazing. Do you have something for somebody like me who has never put his lips to a call? Is there a product out there that I can use to sound like I somewhat know what I'm doing?
Yes. So if you're looking for ducks, I recommend our new call, the 970 Mallard. That call is so easy to blow. You can make a sound out of it, like blowing into it from like maybe 3 inches from your mouth. And it just shows you how easy it is to blow. You can make a sound out of it just like blowing into the barrel without even your mouth to the call. That call has great range. It's very easy for beginners. And see, we even take it a step farther. We actually have a tutorial for beginners or even intermediate guys, or if you just like duck calling tutorial videos in general as content. If you go to our YouTube channel or even the IGTV, we have duck calling and goose calling tutorials on our page. So, and I've spent countless hours with guys that call me up and they're like, hey, how do I do this note? How do I get this to sound the way that I need it to sound or whatever? Because guys on YouTube right now, they do a good job of showing, but they don't do such a good job of explaining. There's a handful that do, in my opinion. But for me, when I started out calling, you got to dumb it down for me, man, because like on a goose call, for example, when they tell you to leave the tip of your tongue behind your bottom teeth, I can't do that. My tongue just goes all over in the roof of my mouth. I'm an auctioneer, man. I'm a self-taught auctioneer on the side as well.
Oh, nice. So
I had a really hard time doing that. But then I finally found somebody on YouTube that, kind of mentored it and dumbed it down for me to understand what they were talking about. And I finally got it, over the time of hunting and, doing the business and whatnot. I've gotten better, obviously. And, I felt like with our videos, we dumb it down to where it makes sense for normal people that don't normally call or that are beginners on calling.
Right. That's what's important. Somebody handed me a call and told me to start practicing, and he would take me out hunting. And I had no clue what I was doing. Granted, he didn't explain shit to me. He just handed it to me and said, start blowing on it and try to sound like a duck. So, I'm not sure how far
I'll give you one piece of advice.
Yeah.
And this is the number one tip I tell everybody. And you'll see it if you go to our YouTube or IGTV, you'll hear me say this at the beginning of those intros. The number one tip I tell people is leave your calls either in your pickup or have them accessible to you in your car or in your truck, because the more time that you spend blowing on it, the better you're going to get. Now, I'm not promoting distracted driving by any means, but you can drive with one hand and blow a duck call or an elk call in the other.
Yeah.
I don't know how many hours I've spent driving and blowing on a duck call in my pickup. Number one, you're not pissing your wife or your girlfriend off.
Yep.
Number two, you're kind of confined in your truck, so you're not making a whole bunch of people mad that are around you. And number three, you're getting the most important thing. Number three is you're getting time behind the call. And a lot of guys, I've learned this throughout the years, a lot of guys think they're going to get it right away. That's not the case. It takes practice. It does take time. I always tell people in the summertime, when you're not doing anything, blow that call. Because this is the best time for you to practice before you actually go to the field. Yeah. Or before you go to the mountains and hunt that elk or whatever.
So you have elk calls too?
Yes, we do. Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about your elk calls?
5280 finisher is the name of that one.
The 5280 finisher, huh?
Yeah.
And
that's it's an elk mule call, a cow call, and it's an open reed style, and we have a band on that, and it can change the pitch of the call with the band that's around the reed. Nice. So what's nice with that is you can change the pitch and sound like different cows when you're up there, and it's lightweight and it can fit in your pocket.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check one of those out and definitely give those a test, because this
like our predator call. Our predator call for predator hunters. That's our Eastern Plains predator call. A lot of predator guys use electronic calls, and I think they do work. I will say that, but after so many times, they get used to it. Now, what's nice about having a handheld call is, number one, you don't need batteries. You don't have to carry around a battery pack or the call, the e-caller itself, or anything like that. You can make some really unique sounds with that call that maybe an electronic call can't do. In my opinion, it sounds more realistic also. And it's small, it's lightweight, you can fit it in your pocket, in your vest, or whatever, and you're not hauling a big bulky e-collar or have to worry about charging batteries, or you can leave it in your pickup if you're a rancher or anything like that. That's what's nice about having a handheld open reed call like that.
Yeah, I have a huge coyote problem where I'm at, and that would probably really
we do too out here on the Eastern Plains. Yep.
Coyotes are a problem every freaking where, but I definitely want to take out some of these coyotes with my bow, just because it's a little more quiet and it's kind of close to it's BLM, but there's people who live there and farmers and stuff, and I don't want to spook them off. Sure. California already hates hunters enough. I don't want to. Yeah. That's that's funny, random thought, but funny shit that's just happening with this coronavirus stuff. All the laws, and I don't mean to get political, but all the laws that were put into place that were what people who are not from California would call the typical California laws that are now in place to prevent like guns, hunting, ammunition, all this stuff that they put into place. Now the same types of people who have voted yes, and I'm saying this from personal people that I know who have voted against gun rights and against hunting rights, personal people that I know very well, are now switching it up completely, and actually was upset that it takes 10 days to get your gun, when they were just talking about gun laws and restricting gun laws more in California, and getting rid of guns, and now you're going to get a gun because of this coronavirus stuff, and you're a little upset about it. That's kind of funny. How is shit out there in Colorado? Are people, I don't know the demographics of Colorado. I would imagine it's very kind of mixed right now.
Well, I'm going to say this lightly because there are people from Colorado that listen. Denver, Boulder area is very, very liberal. There are basically, if you live down the I-25 corridor, there's a very heavy mix of, pro-gun and anti-gun people. There was a big fight going on about coyotes, as a matter of fact, about people were getting mad because they were killing coyotes. And, people that are not hunters don't understand the kind of damage or the ability of a coyote. And they look at him as little wild dogs, like, why are you hurting that dog?
Yeah.
Well, he's a predator, and there's a reason for it. And then there was a big up in arms about bringing gray wolves into the state and stuff like that, which is another predator.
Yeah.
And
ridiculous.
There's always that, tug of war there. I would say on the western slope and on the eastern plains, your non-populated huge cities like Denver, for example, Republican counties, they are all pro-gun. Back in the day, Colorado was a Republican state.
Yeah.
They voted Republican. And then, somewhere in the, I believe it was in the 90s, people started voting Democrat. And I'm not going to get political or nothing, but
all the folks from California moved to Colorado.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, it was like just the housing market. Like when Colorado legalized marijuana here in the state, the people from California that sold their houses for cash over there and came over and paid cash for their houses here, jacked up the rent, jacked up the housing market prices. It was insane.
Yeah.
And in Denver, good luck trying to find a studio apartment for less than $2,300.
What? $2,300 for a studio?
Yeah.
Holy smokes!
It's insane, and it very well could be higher than that. That's the last time I heard about it, and it was about maybe 8 months ago. But we have a housing crisis out here in Colorado because they don't have enough apartments or housing or whatnot. The average house in Colorado is on the market for less than 7 days.
Oh, wow.
It's insane out here, man.
I mean, I want to live in Colorado, so what? I can't even lie and say like, oh, that sucks because I want to move there. I want to be one of those people. Sorry, bud. I do. Colorado's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place.
It
is. It's very free. It's
very expensive.
Very expensive, but I have these connections that I make with different states, and for some reason Colorado sounds like fresh air to me.
It is it's very nice. As far as the rent and stuff goes, again, the farther east you go or the farther north or the farther west, basically away from the I-25 corridor that you are, the more affordable it gets. But then if you're working in Denver, you got to commute. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we commute hours a day in California. I mean, when I was working, I was commuting almost 2.5 hours, 2 hours there, about 2.5 hours back with traffic. So, I mean, a lot of people from California, when they hear commute, different states, a commute means something different. My buddy from Montana was upset about driving 30 minutes to work, and that's basically driving down the street in California. So, when the grass is always greener on the other side, when shit's like when you're used to this crazy ass environment that we live in, and then you go to Colorado where people are probably, for them 5 minutes of traffic is the worst, but for us 45 minutes of traffic is the worst. We're probably like, yeah, I'll take 5 minutes any day over 45 minutes. And especially the hunting in Colorado. Can you go over some of the hunting? Because all I know, man, for Colorado, all I've been drooling over is muleys and elk in Colorado. But I'm sure there's a whole lot else to go over.
Yeah. So in the mountains, you got your muleys, your elk. Elk is probably the biggest number one big game license sold in the state. We have people travel from all over the world and all over the United States to come to our state and hunt elk.
Yeah, right.
There's a very big elk population here for sure. As far as getting like a trophy elk or anything like that, we have a draw system. Some of you may or may not be familiar with that, but a draw system is you basically have to buy a license and, you put in for these certain, they call them GMU units. Basically, it's just a big map, and they have different sections of where you can hunt a particular species, say elk, for example, but say that there's limited population or there's trophy elk in this certain GMU unit, we're just going to say, I'm just going to pick a random number, 21. So if you go to buy your license and you want number 21 on your license to hunt that unit, there's a draw system for it that the Parks and Wildlife have to do. I believe they post those results in July to let you know if you got that draw. If not, if you don't want to draw, there is an over-the-counter, but it's very heavily hunted. Those GMU units are typically overhunted a lot. Muleys, I'm not a big game hunter, so I'm not 100% sure on like populations or anything, but muleys up in the mountains, whitetails usually down here in the plains. We have a bird up in the mountains called a sage grouse that you can hunt up in the mountains. There are also turkeys up in the mountains. And we have two different subspecies of turkeys. Merriams are up in the mountains. And then we have Rio Grandes down here on the river bottom, down here in the eastern part of the state. And then I would say the other really big game, or the other, hunting opportunities is waterfowl. I've seen a lot of people. It's gotten more popular here in the state recently, in the last, 7-8 years, especially Canada geese. Canada geese, it's gotten to the point where people with deep pockets are paying big money to rent or lease land, private land. But, we're talking very big numbers here. There's quite a few outfitters for waterfowl hunting out here. There's also quite a few clubs as well. So for the everyday guy that wants to hunt private land, it can be very difficult at times to find a farmer that hasn't leased his field out yet.
Oh, wow.
Either to another hunter or a waterfowl club or to an outfitter. Just in my area up here in the northeast corner of the state, I know of 6 or 7 different outfitters just in my area.
Holy smokes. Well, make the pie bigger, right? That's my whole thing. Make the pie bigger. If there's room for more people to get out into the outdoors and more people to make money off of other people who want to get in the outdoors, let's make it happen. If there's numbers for the geese, in my head, let's do it. Let's make everybody's pockets rich, and let's do it. Let's figure out a way to make the pie bigger, right?
Yeah, you can look at it that way. For sure. But there's also people out here that don't have the deep pocket that can't, out here, there's guys that charge up to, I've heard of guys charging up to $350 a gun per day.
Oh, shit. Now, what's
per guy?
What's
it's
an average? Like, what's an average? Like,
I would say an average between the outfitters that I know of and that I've heard of, I would say probably around 185 to 200 is usually an average per gun per day.
Okay.
That's typically the average.
And that seems pretty doable, especially for somebody who wants to go out and have an experience with like their
right. And I always tell people, how many times do you plan on hunting? If you plan on hunting only 2 or 3 times during the season, then yes, by all means go for it. But if you're an every day or every weekend type of guy, it can get expensive. It really can.
Yeah.
By the time you buy, there's so many different decoy companies out there, but you got silhouettes like Dive Bomb, for example. You got full body decoys, stuff can get expensive. And then you got guns, you got calls, you got a trailer. If you have to get a trailer for full bodies or something.
Yeah.
And when we built our business, our call business, I used to say budget hunters. We were here for the budget hunters that can't go out and buy a $200 duck call, because there are calls out there that are $200.
Oh, what?
Really? We want to make something that's high quality, that can perform in the field for you, and that's affordable, because our hobby, our passion is already so expensive as it is. So I don't know what kind of money the industry makes, if it's like, hunting or waterfowl is a $2 billion industry, We just want to make enough money to where we can sustain our business, meet some great people, support our customers, and have fun doing it. That's the number one thing for us. Hunting already as expensive as it is when you really sit down and you think about it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it can be really cheap. Like my first year hunting, I was a budget hunter. I went and bought, I bought a used Tika T3. It's a beautiful, awesome gun. I love my Tika T3. I bought a used Tika. I bought a cheap sight. I bought Walmart boots. I bought Walmart. Everything came from Walmart. Literally, all my hunting clothes, everything I had came from Walmart. I bought a cheap, I won't call it cheap, but I bought a bear bow. It wasn't like a top of the line bow. It was just a bow that was 70 pounds. Had a tube on it. So, tubing bows, no offense to the bows that have tubes on them, but, really good bows typically don't need tubes. Just my 2 cents out there. Don't hate me, guys, for saying that. But and I went really cheap, really budget. I still have all the bows that I have. I still have them, and I still shoot them. But I learned, you need to upgrade your gear. Like if you're gonna really try to hunt hard, like I was trying to, you're gonna need good boots. If you're gonna try to shoot, place a proper shot, you're gonna need a good scope. If you're gonna try to sit there and glass, you're gonna need some good binos. If you're gonna be cold, you're gonna need some good clothes. So I just started, instead of buying all this Walmart shit and then buying it over and over again and keep buying binos that break and keep buying a scope that I don't really like, it's just a scope that I can afford. Let me just save up for the things that I want. Like Danner's boots. I'm not sponsored by anybody, but my Danner's boots, they last. I still have some for 3 years ago, and they are just still pushing. I still use those boots for like when I go on runs because they're so light and they're they're just really good boots.
Yeah, like my lacrosse boots. We're not affiliated or sponsored with lacrosse, but I own a pair of lacrosse boots. I use them for waterfowl hunting, Canada geese, and usually in a field situation where it's probably muddy, or like I'll use them for turkey season. And they're comfortable, they work, they keep my feet dry. I absolutely love them.
Hell yeah, man. See, and just things that just work. You got to invest in the style you're going to be hunting. In California, we do a lot of road hunting, so people probably don't invest a lot. I don't like to hunt on the road at all. And I don't want people to think that we're poaching when I say road hunting. That's probably the connection that non-hunters would make. What I mean by that is people drive these clear cuts and these wooded areas, normally Sierra Pacific land, and that's how they hunt. When they see a deer, they hop out and they pull their bow back or their rifle and they shoot. And that's just the way it is in California because there's so much thick brush.
And to touch base too, like you don't have to buy name brand gear. Like in the waterfowl industry, a lot of people buy Sitka, and that's great, but it is super expensive. And I bet you 100, I bet you 100 times over it's worth it. They're probably worth it in my opinion. But I cannot pay. My wife will stab me if I paid $300 for a vest. She would shoot me between my eyes. Or I've heard $400 or $500 for a jacket. I can't do that personally. I just can't pull the trigger on that.
Wait for the new year. There's a lot of sales that go on the new year.
Yeah, I mean, still, man, when it's on sale, I still can't afford it. But don't get me wrong, Sitka is a very well-named brand. I know they're worth it. I don't own any of it, but I know they're worth it. It's just I can't afford it. Like I just can't do it. I know guys that can, and great, good for them. They love it. Fantastic. If you got the money, spend it. But one thing that I tell people to watch out for is Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. You can find some really smoking deals on hunting gear, decoys, even calls sometimes. You can find a whole bunch of stuff. And usually people are somewhat out here in Colorado. If you try to buy decoys, sometimes they want, new pricing. It just kind of depends. But, you can find some deals out there, and it doesn't have to be name brand or Walmart brand. You can find something that's a little bit better than, your below grade stuff. And do everything, you could still find deals and be successful at it.
Even probably the Goodwill and thrift stores and stuff like that probably have a pretty good selection. Right. I've actually seen some waders, some pretty good waders, and actually I found a Cabela's sleeping bag, 30-degree sleeping bag at a thrift store, and it was really cheap, and I was just really surprised. It was in the box and everything still too. So you can, if you get out there and if you're a budget hunter, you can get out there and you can make this happen if you plan right and you shop right, and you take all the proper precautions and you plan your hunt out accordingly. Like if you don't have the gear to be in the snow, please do not go out hunt. It's not going to be fun if it's snowing. You got to plan your hunt accordingly so that you're hunting in like a warmer climate. I made the mistake of when I first started hunting, I overpacked and I overcompensated for like weather. For example, when I went to Wyoming, it snowed, but it's not that cold. It gets cold, but it's not that cold. But when I went, I bring a bunch of jackets, thermos, and all this like warm gear stuff. I ended up sweating a lot because I was so warm and I was all constantly moving up, downhill. I realized that maybe I don't need as much shit on me when I'm hiking up these steep ass hills, and I definitely learned a lesson on how to pack for hunts. Leave your jacket in the fucking backpack so you don't sweat through your fucking layers, your prime layers. But yeah, man, it's every day I learn something different. But tell me, what got you started in this business, man?
Craft show with my wife Jessica in Greeley, Colorado. It's north of Denver, and Don was there, and he had some pins and some bottle stoppers, and he also had a couple duck calls that had echo inserts in them at the time because he's not a hunter. He just likes to turn stuff on a lathe. So, me being a hunter, I blow into the calls. I like them, and, we kept in contact. Well, one thing turned to another where guys would see the calls on my lanyard, and they would be like, where do I get one of those? I'm like, oh, there's this guy that makes them in Johnstown, and, I bet you I can get you in touch with him, or I can, get it for you or whatever. So it kind of started out like that, where guys would order calls through me, and then I would buy from him or whatever. And one day, one guy called me up and he's like, hey, I heard you sell calls and stuff. And, yeah, they're echo inserts or whatnot. And this is just starting out. I think everybody's got to start somewhere. Stuffing barrels is the term that's used, that's kind of frowned upon a little bit. But, we weren't charging a whole bunch. We were only charging like $35 a call, nothing major. They were affordable. They weren't our insert or whatever. Well, one guy called me one day and he's like, hey, do you guys have a website, or do you have an order form or anything like that? And I was like, no, we don't. We just, do call to order or whatever. And, we just place you in line. Well, one day I decided to Dawn, I'm like, hey, let's make this a business. Let's make this a real thing. Let's make a website. Let's get our, stuff from the Secretary of State done, get a sales tax license. Like, let's make this a legit business, and maybe it can turn into something. So we came up with Colorado Custom Game Calls. My wife helped me design the logo. I had a kind of an idea of what I wanted. She designed the logo for me. She also came up with the slogan, but eventually it grew into something bigger. It got in, something more. We made our own inserts now, and it's just grown into a business. And it was just because I went to a craft show with my wife and met my now partner in the business, Don, and here we are today, and I'm 100% thrilled the way it's turned out so far, and we want to continue growing for sure.
Nice. That is awesome, especially because it's such a like a small circle of love that started this. It means a lot. That's so awesome. That's it's kind of similar to how Campfire Evolution started. Campfire is my nonprofit that I have going, and I was in a really bad car accident, and it caused me to have a really bad concussion. And I wasn't myself for a while, but the outdoors is what helped me feel better completely. I completely, all the therapy that they were trying to do and all the stuff that they were trying to give me, and none of that shit meant anything, didn't work. But walking around in the woods is what helped me, is what saved me. I give 1,000% of my credit to being out. I went to go visit Dale from Full Scale in Minnesota. We went ice fishing, and I fished on the Mississippi River with him. And that experience alone, being in the fresh air, having that experience of the cold, I would say boosted my recovery. And then coming back with chaga mushrooms, drinking chaga tea, that definitely, everything that helped my rehabilitation was through the outdoors. So I started Campfire Evolution, just me, her, and I wanted other people to have the same benefits that I was receiving. And I noticed at the time I was working with children under the spectrum of autism. I was an ABA therapist, is what applied behavioral analysis. And there was a certain kid who did way better doing classwork outside than he did inside. And I kept pitching it to the teachers, and I kept pitching it like, hey, if he's having a temper tantrum, try going outside with him, and, just throwing the ball around for a couple of minutes and bringing him back inside. And since they've started incorporating sunshine into his life, his scores have improved. Like when I was there, they were improving like 30% in just the last 3 months that I was with him. And that's a big jump for someone who's under the spectrum of autism, to improve that much. So I'm a firm believer that the outdoors can heal. And, it's this business, having a small business where there's small, I don't want to say the small business, but having a business where there's, a family around it is the main thing that's going to show you that there's love behind that business. Like for example, there's a company that I buy some of my hunting clothes from. And when I call, I hear the same person every single day. I know who this person is.
Right.
And I call and, hey, Elizabeth, how's it going? When's your new order of X, Y, and Z coming in? And they know who I am. I'm obviously my phone number probably pops up, but they've seen my name so much. They're like, oh, hey, bud, how's it going? How's Campfire Evolution going? And and I'm sure it's the same for you and for your business. Like having that small camaraderie, having somebody call and say, hey, bud, this is what I need. And then 2 years later, being able to call the same number and hear your voice again, like, oh shit, you're the guy who told me to call the last time. Like, how's it going? Yeah, I need this.
Right.
That's
it's about the connections you make. Like some of the business affiliations, like we have an affiliation with Big Frig Coolers. They're a family-owned business out of South Dakota. They're phenomenal. They do all of our coolers and our tumblers and stuff for us. BB Waterfowl, they are a budget-friendly. They convert your floater decoys into full-body decoys for the field. They're just little stands with plastic feet that they make.
Yeah.
It's just a budget-friendly option, for, like we said, budget hunters. Jim Shoe Decoy is another one. Jim, he's a small business owner also. He does full-body Canada decoys at an affordable price. They look phenomenal. He's a great friend of mine. It's those connections that you make, whether you're, an Instagram page or a hunter in general or small business owner, like you were saying, you can call up, I can call up any of our affiliations and it's like I cannot talk to him for a year. And it's like we just pick up the phone and just, we run with it just because we interact so much. It's those connections that you make.
Exactly. The connections that you make and the love and the connections you make and the connections you keep. And the love that you guys share.
That's exactly right.
Within the sport together. That's what's up, man. Can you tell me some stereotypes of duck hunters? I mean, because you have your big game stereotypes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got your, I think the number one in waterfowl hunting anyway is your skybusters. They don't let birds work, and something that you're typically going to see on public lands or public ground or whatnot. And, they just bust the sky up and shoot more than 40 yards up and try to shoot a hope and a prayer there to hit a bird or whatnot. You got your new guys, obviously, they don't know what's going on or how to, like, for example, set a J hook on like a Canada spread or something like that. They're there to haul decoys and all that stuff.
That's me. I'll be hauling decoys.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, man, we need to get you out here and get you hunting with us. I think you'd have a good time for sure. And we'll teach you a J hook and an X and the V and the horseshoe and all that stuff. You'll get that in no time.
Sweet.
I mean, that's probably the biggest one. I mean, then you got guys that want to land right on top of you. Like, here's a story for you. Public water, public land. There's a reservoir just northeast of where I'm at called Pruitt Reservoir, and you can hunt ducks on it. But you can't hunt out of a boat. You have to be like on the shore, and you can throw your decoys. You can walk out into the water, and you can shoot from the shore and everything, but you just can't hunt out of like a boat, for example. Well, I had a buddy of mine. This area opens at like 4 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that, but you can camp out there. So one of my really good friends, my best friend, Caleb, he's also an elite member for me. He does a great job for the business for us. But he's like, I'll stay out there. I will sleep in my blind. And that way you guys can sleep in and we'll hunt in the morning. And I'm like, okay, great. We're going to have this really sweet spot picked out. Everything's perfect. Caleb is out there. He sleeps all night in his blind, and it gets down to like 14 degrees. I don't even know if he had a sleeping bag, so he was freezing his ass off, and I give him credit for it for sure.
Dedicated.
But yeah, oh yeah. Literally 15 minutes before shooting light, a group of hunters come up, and I mean, they are within, and this is no exaggeration, they are within pissing distance of how close they are to us. So, I mean, I'm talking less than 20 feet.
Wow. That sucks.
And there's kind of a respect rule there it's not a written rule, but it's kind of like the hunter's non-written, like waterfowl non-written rules.
Yeah.
Give guys some space. Give people that if we beat you there, we beat you there. That's unfortunate. You're going to have to find somewhere else to go.
That's sort of the unsung song of all hunting everywhere. Like, if I'm,
exactly.
If I've
and
spent,
I mean,
yeah. What?
I mean, and then of course they sky bust on top of us, and we were pissed that we did the same thing. And I'm not saying that's right or anything, but that's how confrontations start.
Yeah.
And we're not about that. It's supposed to be fun for everybody, having a good time. It's not supposed to be this serious thing, but some guys, they either don't use their head or they take it way too seriously, in my opinion. And it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be enjoyable, and you're outside with your friends or by yourself enjoying the outdoors. And man, I've never been so pissed off in my life. I can tell you that right now on that day.
Yeah, man, that sucks. I mean, public land is public land, but at the same time, there's an unwritten rule, guys. If you're hiking up a mountain and you're climbing to your spot, if somebody's already there, you got to keep on pushing. Try to be nice about the wind too, because you don't want to blow anything out for the other guy. So be a little smart about the wind. But man, I've had so many opportunities where I'm hunting and I'm glassing on something and I just see like someone else come up behind me, walk past the deer that I'm stalking and spook them out. And I mean, just kind of.
Well, and you never know who you're going to meet too, and it's all about that first impression. And here's another story for you. Again, public land. This was about 3.5 years ago. It's all about, like I said, first impressions. And there's a lake, a reservoir that's not too far from me. It's probably about 10 miles. It's called Jackson Reservoir, and there's some ponds to the north of that reservoir. And funny story. They call it Jackson Pond, and that's where you can waterfowl hunt at, right? And there's only so many ponds. There's actually, I believe, there's 9 or 12 different spots that you can hunt legally, but you can only have 4 hunters per pond. And the ponds are a little close to each other, whatnot, but there are guys that go there 2 days, 3 days before opener, and they will park on the road to make sure they have a spot for this area. Okay. So, instead of being disrespectful and trying to cut people, in line or whatever at this area, make those conversations with people, be nice and be polite. If they beat you there, you have to understand that. Well, long story short, just because I made connections and interacted with some of the hunters that were there, my really good friend, and he's an elite member with me too, his name is Tim West. He owns a fly fishing outfit up in Breckenridge called Breckenridge Outfitters. And, our friendship from that day, turned into something awesome to where he lets me sell calls out of his store.
Nice.
Which is he's very grateful for letting me do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm very grateful. But you never know who you're going to meet, and again, first impressions are everything. I've met guys that kind of seem standoffish, that, I didn't really want to interact with, but and the fact with Tim, it turned into something awesome. And he tells me all the time, like if I ever want to go fly fishing up in the mountains, he just tells me, call me the day before you come and I'll be there. It just turned into something great. And, I got that friendship because I wasn't standoffish or I wasn't pissed off because he beat me to that spot or that pond or, whatever. You gotta be respectful there. And I think some guys at times tend to lose that a little bit, because they're in it for their own gains or whatnot. But, it's all about first impressions too. So
yeah, big time. Some people get a little nervous too. I'm not the kind of person to be nervous to going up to anybody, but, typically people are afraid of other people. Especially when you're hunting, if I see somebody camping out, I'm probably going to be a little too shy to go up to him and talk to him, especially if I'm a beginning hunter. Not me, but a new hunter is going to be a little shy going up to this guy and asking for advice.
You got to play the scenario.
Yeah. But similar kind of story about camaraderie and just talking to people. My very, very first hunt in Wyoming, I wouldn't call it a hunt. I would call it more like harvesting animals on private land because that's basically what it was. We were very unsuccessful when we first got there. We had no clue what we were doing, not a damn clue. My buddies, this was like the budget hunt that I went on. My buddies were wearing their cowboy boots, and we watched Steve Ranella and Randy Newberg to prepare for this hunt. That was our preparation. We sat on the couch and watched TV. That's how much how well thought out this hunt was. We get there. Very unsuccessful. We are not playing the wind at all. We had no clue we were doing. No clue at all. So we're driving back from a very unsuccessful, very moody hunt. And we drive past this diner in Sheridan, Wyoming. And I see this guy with these 2 monster bucks in his pickup truck. And I'm like, pull over. I want to talk to that guy. I want to see where he got his bucks so I can talk to this guy and see what we can do, see if we can fill our tags. So we pull over. I make small talk with the guy. I compliment his deer. I tell him, hey, we're new. I have a tag here. They have tags here. We're just trying to fill our tags and get some meat for this year. Do you have any suggestions? He was like, he looked at my tag. He was like, well, I do lease some property where your tag is. Why don't you just come to my property and harvest the deer? I'm like, cool. So we do that. I harvest the doe. Then the next day I harvest an antelope on his property. Then we're hanging out. We're cutting them up. And he's like, you know what? Let me see your guys' tags. Show him his tags. He's like, hey, I know this neighborhood. You should probably knock on these doors because they hate these antelope in this neighborhood. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. They call them like field rats. They hate them. They hate them completely. So I was like, perfect. We go over there. They fill their tags. It was awesome. And all it was one, guy that I talked to in a town. And honestly, the people I went with clearly had no clue what it was like to be out of California, because they were trying to scare me into thinking that Wyoming was this big racist place where everyone hates everybody who's not white. And I was completely opposite of, honestly, of how I feel in California. Being a black man in California, I don't mean to get all political, but sometimes, not so much in recent years, but sometimes you get looked at in stores, and you get looked at like you know, well, you get looked at a little bit differently. But when I was in Wyoming, funny thing is, I did not feel black. And it's weird to say that, but in some places in California, I feel like, oh, I can tell people I'm a black person. But in Wyoming, I did not once at all feel like anyone was judging me, feel like I had to, like, nothing. It was just like chill ass love, respect. Oh, you're here to hunt? Let me help you. Oh, you're a good person? That's all I need to know. You can come to my house. Matter of fact, the next year, I'm on Facebook. This is how I met my buddy Josh. Same way I met Lewis. Same way I met Dale. I'm on Facebook, and I'm like just spreading the love. And this guy I've never met him on Facebook, invites me to sleep over his house for an entire month. Has kids, a wife, and dogs. Invites me to sleep over his house. Never met me in my life. Wyoming. He lived in Rosette. Now he lives in Montana. He's a brother of mine. But I was just blown away that all these Californians are like, you're going to Wyoming? That's, you know, they have this condensation. They have this image in their head of what Wyoming is. And it's not even close to what it really is. And part of the same for Colorado. Like, my old lady is like, you want to move to Colorado? Why? There's no diversity there. I'm like, are you crazy? Yes, there is. There's hella diversity in Colorado. Like, what are you talking about? Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know. We looked it up, and there's, surely enough, there's a lot of pockets of Colorado that are extremely diverse. It's sort of like California. Right. But yeah, just talking to people, man, just pulling over and talking to somebody and asking, hey, you know, I don't have a damn clue what I'm doing. Can you help me out here, bud? Maybe they'll help you. Maybe they won't. But you're never gonna fucking know if you don't ask.
Right. Well, no, man, this has been fantastic, and you know, we got to get you out here to Colorado for waterfowl season at least. I don't big game hunt, but we can at least get you on some, you know, Canada honkers.
Yeah, hopefully. Man. Big time.
But,
yeah, it's been a blast.
This has been phenomenal, and I can't thank you enough for having me on here.
Hell yeah, I appreciate you being on here. Thank you so much for spending the time with me. A little bit it got cut off in a little bit in the beginning there, about 10 minutes. We lost like 10 minutes, but we got gold. We got gold for these people's ears to listen to. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to get to Colorado and hunt with you in person, man. You can teach me a lot. I just bought a shotgun yesterday. Got 10 days to go pick it up. California laws. But, yeah, I hope to start blasting, putting that shotgun to use and learning how to use that tool. And by the time I get out there to Colorado, man, we'll be blowing stuff up. And
let me know, man. We'll try to get something scheduled up. And, you know, I've got 10 acres out here in my little hobby farm out here, but you know, we got plenty of room out here. We got campers and stuff, so
nice.
Don't worry about getting a hotel or nothing. And I mean, we'll take care of you. It's like one of our own for sure.
Spreading the love. I dig it. I appreciate you, bud. We'll be in contact.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Be safe. Stay COVID free. Have a good day. I'll talk to you later, bud.
All right, man. Thanks.
Bye. This episode of the podcast is also brought to you by Campfire Evolution, baby. We're bridging minds, saving lives one backstrap at a time. I'm Buck the Buck Hunter, but this right here is CampTalk. What we do at Campfire Evolution, it's just this. I just got another connection, another family member made for the Campfire Evolution family in Colorado. I'm talking about every single state, every single territory, having a place to provide beautiful healing, the outdoors. Actually, I don't provide anything. I just provide you with the experience. The outdoors just does the rest for you. It'll heal your body, heal your brain, heal your spirit, if we do it in a nice, comfortable fashion. Well, not exactly comfortable. You got to test yourself somehow. Thank you guys for listening. Please like and follow Buck the Black Hunter on Instagram. Please also like and follow Campfire Evolution on Facebook. I'm Buck the Black Hunter. Peace out.